Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Book HQ. So today I'm going to be talking about one of the books that I said I wanted to read a while ago. I haven't gotten around to actually reading it with my eyes, just because of she-baby, but I did kind of read it. I used Audible, so I listened to the audiobook, and the book is Crazy Rich Asians by Kwan. So there are 3 books in the series. There's Crazy Rich Asians, and there's China Rich Girlfriend, and then there's Rich People Problems. So the book is super interesting. It was really great, honestly speaking, to be able to read about China and Chinese people in a setting that wasn't the usual sort of like summoning my chi or like dragon mysticism type thing. That was really cool. It was also really interesting to follow the different characters in the book. So the main characters in the book are Rachel, and she's sort of the main female protagonist. Well, there are 2 main female protagonists. There's Rachel and Astrid. And then there's the main male protagonists are Nikki. I want to say Colin is the main protagonist, but not really. They're just going to China for his wedding. But anyway, so it follows the relationship between Nick and Rachel. And Nick is fabulously wealthy, but he doesn't tell Rachel. And they're both professors at NYU, so they're living in New York, and they're like removed from the craziness that is the world that he grew up in, being fabulously wealthy in Hong Kong. And so it's really funny to read about sort of the culture in those super rich circles, which is sort of a mix of like English culture and Chinese culture. So it's like a culture which they've made for themselves. The English part, obviously, because Hong Kong used to belong to England, but then also being rich and affluent, a lot of the parents send their kids for schooling in the UK just so that they can become more refined, etc. And so it's really interesting how they mix like their Chinese traditional culture, like with things like having crumpets and tea, like oftentimes in the day. The book also, which I really noticed, or it's something that you will notice when you're reading it, is that it's incredibly detailed when it comes to the world of luxury. All kinds of luxury, cars, haute couture, food, hotels, you name it. Just because that's the kind of lifestyle that these crazy rich Asians are living in Hong Kong. And it's also really fun to hear the way they talk about like mainland Chinese and like Taiwanese. They kind of think of them as like, they've kind of jettisoned them from their sort of set apart world, which is really funny but also super interesting to read. I really enjoyed the book. As I said, obviously, when you read it, you identify with Rachel Chu because, you know, she could be you if you were a Ivy League university professor dating a fabulously wealthy guy who you didn't know was fabulously wealthy until you went to visit his parents. So it's really fun and interesting, and it follows different relationships. You get to read about different relationships, and I think also what was interesting for me was the relationship between Astrid and her husband, because Astrid is Nick's cousin, and what was interesting about their relationship was kind of how she married supposedly not really down, because the guy had a lot of potential, but he didn't come from a family that was as wealthy or even wealthy. And so to see things sort of from his point of view, and when he explains like how he's felt all this time being married to her, etc., it's very interesting to see it from that point of view, because all this time when the point of views are being presented, it's always being presented from one of the crazy rich Asian people's point of view. So everybody kind of seems like to be on the same level playing field. So that was also really interesting. Filled with the usual drama of like parents who think that possible suitors for their children aren't good enough. In their case, it's like super extreme. Another really fun thing I liked reading it was that a lot of it is set in France, in Paris. So it was obviously like cool to read about streets that I know of and to find out about things that I didn't know about in the city. Then also like the relationship that the characters, main protagonists, have with their parents, and the kind of things that like crazy rich Asians worry about, and was also fun to read. And generally overall it's like very interesting point of view, very entertaining, also very emotionally charged. Like I said, the book gets 2 thumbs up from me. The movie is coming out soon, and I've kind of just been following the news coming out on who's going to be acting as who. So yeah, #CRA, look for it in theaters. And if you can get your hands on the book, definitely read it or listen to it on Audible like I did. That's it from me this week, and until next time, keep reading and keep watching. Bye bye.